Oh boy. Just to get right to it, the diagnosis of Biden's cancer came out yesterday. We shall discuss this. There's obviously a lot of questions that this raises. Yes, of course, cancer is terrible. We wish everyone the best in their fight against that horrible disease, including, of course, Joe Biden, a former president of this country. But a lot of people have questions about whether the dementia diagnosis that was hidden was also part of a broader plan to hide a cancer diagnosis along with it. And we will bring to you the evidence on this, the case such as it exists. And we've got Dr. Nicole Saphier, newly added, thankfully. We got a doctor in the house, Clay, newly added to the Clay and Buck Podcast Network. So she shall be with us in the third hour to talk specifically about the probability, the likelihood, the reality of whether someone who most likely had the best medical care on the planet could have gone until this moment without anyone noticing anything might have been amiss with respect to its with the possibility of prostate cancer. So we're gonna dive into all of this. It's a massive story because of the implications, and you can tell that the media, I don't think, has really processed yet that their old approach of how dare you, or you're not allowed to talk about that. You don't get to do that with a cancer diagnosis when you just told us that you did it with a dementia diagnosis. So that's not going to work, and we are going to discuss this. Again, cancer is terrible. We want everyone to beat cancer, including Joe Biden. We're not talking about that. Other than wishing him well and thoughts and prayers, we're talking about when was this known by the government, because the health of the president is actually a matter of public concern. It is something all of us get to know about, and we will discuss this. They also released audio of Robert Herr's 2023 interview of Joe Biden. It is, I think, worse than any of you could have imagined at the time, or that any of us could have thought, maybe as bad, and we have some of that to share with you. This was absolutely a cover-up. They absolutely knew that he was not of sound mind to do the job. This is somebody that they had signing laws, signing pardons, and carrying around, or rather having the nuclear codes carried around for him. It is a very big deal. And we've got that. We've also got the big, beautiful bill to discuss today. Senator Ron Johnson. Clay, you will not be surprised, but we'll be pleased to know that he was listening Friday right after you ducked out and was like, when can we talk the bill? And I'm like, Senator, you're the senator working on it. Let's talk the bill. So he'll be with us because that's also a very big deal. And you had a Trump-Putin phone call this morning. So, I mean, so much news. So we're really excited to spend this time with you and break it all down and make it all make sense. Also, that Supreme Court ruling Friday, Clay, 7-2. To enjoin the government from summarily deporting alleged gang members on the Alien Enemies Act. We can discuss that, but usually that might be a first hour top of show kind of thing. Today, let's do it right now with the Biden thing. I can tell from Twitter already, you and I separately came to the same conclusion here, which is that the likelihood that this cancer remember, I have family members who have dealt with prostate cancer recently. A huge percentage of American men get to a certain age and they will deal with prostate cancer. So this is not some cancer that people aren't familiar with. Here's what everyone knows about it. It is almost always very, very slow, which is a good thing. The notion that Biden just found out about this is very hard for people to accept or swallow. I'll just put it that way. Some of you I know completely reject it. Beyond that, though, Clay, it seems to me, and this is where I think you and I see this in the same way based on our separate tweets, that the plan was push Dementia Joe across the finish line, and then you kind of wipe away the dementia cover-up in the new administration and the new term by announcing that he has cancer and letting him step down over a real, I'm not by any means suggesting it's not real, a real health issue. And that was the plan to make Kamala president of the United States. I don't see another way to view this.
Yeah, I think that's the larger context, obviously, that fell apart on June 27th with the disastrous debate performance. But let's just go to the cancer itself. And I echo that. Everybody hates cancer, all right? Don't allow yourself to be in some way David Axelrod put out a tweet, or his quote, which I think was emblematic of this. Well, we can't talk about medical relations with Biden or his dementia or his inability to be president because he got cancer, and we all need to feel sorry and sympathy for him. Look, everybody hates cancer. Everybody wishes that cancer could be eradicated. Everybody wishes that every single person who got cancer could beat it. So let's put that off.
We are solidly anti-cancer across the board on this show.
No one hates cancer more than this show. So let's leave that on the side. Let's get away with the stupid sort of platitudes, all right? I don't believe that they found out on Friday that Joe Biden has stage 9 cancer here, prostate cancer, and that it has gone to the bone. And I have seen at least 2 different doctors on 2 different television networks, one of whom was on MSNBC. The other was on News Nation. I'm sure there have been many others. I'm not claiming that I've seen every doctor analysis so far. We will have our own doctor, Nicole Sapphire, on the program with us to discuss with all of you during the course of this program. The Robert Hur tapes come out on Friday. They are devastating for Biden. We will play them for you. The White House, you knew they were bad because the White House had insisted on only releasing the transcripts, not the actual audio. Second part of this, tomorrow, whatever you think of the Jake Tapper, Alex Thompson book, it is going to be devastating for Biden and those who covered up for him. That book comes out. So 48 hours after the Hur audio comes out and 48 hours before the blockbuster release of a book that MSNBC and CNN are not going to be able to avoid talking about, because it leads to the biggest cover-up related to health that any of us have seen in most of our lifetimes, unless you were alive when FDR was elected in 44. Otherwise, this is the biggest health-related condition that we have been lied to about.
Can I throw something in the mix there? This is worse, Clay, because it would be very easy for people to not know about. Hiding the condition was obvious because he wasn't appearing on TV all the time,
yes.
Right? So this cover-up, I would just argue, is far worse because it was across the board and everybody knew.
So I don't buy it. And I put up a poll question. I said, for anybody out there, you can go vote. It's up at the top of my Twitter poll. If you disagree with me, you can go vote in this. 98% of you do not believe that Joe Biden got this cancer diagnosis on Friday, according to my poll, with 20,000 people voting so far. I think overwhelming majorities of Republicans, Democrats, and independents now do not trust the Biden regime to be honest with us. And the idea, frankly, that they found out on Friday is, to me, unbelievable. Okay. And the data out there, and we'll play some of these audio cuts from doctors for you, is that in general, a significant prostate cancer evolution like this typically takes 5 to 10 years. I think it's more likely Biden ran for president knowing he had this cancer than it is that he found out on Friday. And I think possibly, Buck, this could go all the way back to one of the reasons why Barack Obama decided to pick Hillary Clinton is they knew Biden wasn't of a sound mind. Maybe also they were aware that he was not of a sound body going back even that far. But again, we'll play the doctors for you saying it is improbable. It is almost impossible for this level of cancer to have developed and for them not to know. Remember, arguably, the president has the best medical care of anyone in America. I mean, there is an entire team of people.
There's a team of doctors in the White House, okay? They have an internal
every single minute of every day.
Yeah, they have an internal medical team that's right there. If Joe Biden gets a sneeze, he can say, hey, run some tests on me. The notion that this wouldn't have been known until now. I mean, so they're asking you to accept. Let's just do this by the numbers for a second, Clay. They're asking you to accept that this is maybe a 1 in 100 cancer case for prostate cancer to move this fast, undetected, of this kind, right? 1 in 100, by the way, might be far too generous. It might be way lower than that, but it's a tiny, tiny percentage. And they're asking us all to believe that this came out right at the single most advantageous time for them to try to soften the blow of the massive lie in the cover-up. The most advantageous time possible, the Friday before the book release, as if there's a, and they're expecting us to forget that they just did a whole cover-up of dementia, which is also an extremely serious medical condition, and they knew, and they lied, and they all went along with this. So, fool me once, as Bush said, can't get fooled again. And I think a lot of people feel that way.
Let's play cut 5, because this is not just us saying it. This is this morning on your boy Joe Scarborough's show. This is Dr. Zeke Emanuel. This is Ari Emanuel's brother, one of the top doctors in this realm in the country. Dyed-in-the-wool Democrat, Rahm Emanuel's brother, also Ari Emanuel's brother, one of the trio of highly successful Emanuel brothers. He said he thinks Biden had cancer while he was president. He didn't develop it in the last 100 or 200 days. This is cut 5.
Would it be fair to say it's likely to have had this for at least several years?
Oh, more than several years. You don't get prostate cancer.
So I just want to stop you. So this is not speculation. If you have prostate cancer that is spread to the bone, then he's most certainly, you were saying, had it when he was president of the United States.
Oh, yeah. He did not develop it in the last 100, 200 days. He had it while he was president. He probably had it at the start of his presidency in 2021. Yes, that I don't think there's any disagreement about that.
Now, Buck, this also raises all sorts of questions, and we're going to continue to discuss this as adults should discuss it. Was it possible that Joe Biden was getting chemo treatments? Was there a behind-the-scenes, total hidden nature of this? I think almost assuredly yes.
We can ask Dr. Sapphire about this. Again, good timing to add a doctor into our Clay and Buck network, and we will ask her about this. But Clay, I know from my own family dealing with this form of cancer that it's so slow-moving that there's some degree of they call it active surveillance. So they'll know that you have the cancer, but they may choose to not do anything because it can move so slowly that some people basically pass of other unrelated causes. Just to give a sense of this, right? Usually you have cancer or a lot of different kinds of, my wife Carrie had cancer, had to treat it right away. Cancer is something you have to go at right away. This is I don't know what other cancers would fall into this category. This is a very rare type of cancer where you can find out and it's okay, let's sort of see where we are. Maybe they chose to do that here as a means of keeping it quiet, as a means of not running additional tests. They just did the, quote, active surveillance mode on this to see where it goes. But if that's the case, by the way, you think it's malpractice because now the guy's got it to his bones, and that means it's probably fatal. And
when we come back, we've got another doctor, this time on CNN, saying that when you look at this is, I don't want to play it right now because we got to go to break, but Vin Gupta says Bush and Obama and Trump all had the prostate test reported as a part of their physicals. He can't find it ever reported as a part of Joe Biden's, which would suggest, again, this was a cover-up.
I believe this was a straight-up cover-up. And not only do I believe it was a cover-up, I believe that this was the plan. The plan was, because think about it, nobody's going to talk about his dementia if he steps down in the first 100 days of his second term because of legitimately having cancer. No one's going to be... I'm sorry?
Bone cancer, not even just to your point, like the very beginning. Yeah. Yeah,
the prostate cancer having metastasized to that point. So it was a perfect plan if they could have pulled off the election. And I think this is and I think they thought they could get through that debate with, injecting him with the stuff and it would have been okay. And they were going to hide this is the biggest political cover up in the history of this country. It makes Watergate look like ladies who lunch chatting things up somewhere. It is an absolute nothing burger compared to this, my friends. This is massive. It is sustained. It is systemic. It is across the board. It involves the president. It involves the media. It involves the entire Democrat apparatus. And we're going to continue talking about it. When I bought gold for the first time, it seemed like a smart investment and a good hedge against inflation. As it turns out, the gold I purchased a decade ago has gone up more than 160% in value. Purchasing gold today has become even easier thanks to partners like Birch Gold Group. And it's as important as ever to do, given external factors that we can't control, that even the Trump administration can't control. Government spending. Look, we're going to talk about the big bill today. There's a lot of spending in it. And the debt's going to get higher. And they've raised the debt ceiling trillions of dollars. This means that your dollars in the bank are going to be chipped away at by inflation. That is just reality. So how can you protect your savings? Diversification. I continue to diversify with gold. I mean real, actual gold from the Birch Gold Group. In the past 12 months, the value of gold has increased again. Past 12 months, 40% increase. Central banks are buying gold in record quantities. So that's why demand doesn't seem to be subsiding. You can also convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold, or just buy some to store in your home safe like I do. Text my name, Buck, to 989898. Birch Gold will send you a free info kit on gold. There's no obligation, only useful information. That's text my name, Buck, to 989898 today.